Hi everybody, I'm Cosmo Barbaro with Cosmo Barbaro Furniture, and today I'm going to show you how to put a profile router edge on this shelf that I have here. And it's made out of sapele mahogany, and what I'm going to do is run a 3/4 inch round over bit, and I'm running it in a portable Metabo palm router. So this represents, this round over bit's going to be put on the edge, and that's going to represent the bottom. So I have to decide what the top and the bottom is going to be right now, which is just visually inspecting it and picking the best side for the top. So I'll just take a quick look. They're both pretty good, to be honest with you. I really can't go wrong. A couple minor knots to fill. But I'll say this is the bottom. I'm going to choose this side as the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to run this side. I'm going to talk about grain direction. I'm going to talk about the cutter direction on here, so you understand like how to not get tear out, and you understand a regular cut against a climb cut. And then I'm going to show you, really just dry real quick how I would attack this piece. And if I turn this, see if I can do it this way, you might be able to see a little bit better. In this direction, the grain's kind of running down like this. And my cutter head, it spins, see if I can do it this way. Yeah, it spins like this. Okay, so my bit is rotating like this, and I'm running it this way. I want to make sure that I'm running it in the right direction. That's all I'm trying to stress to you. When I run this router from my left hand to my right hand, that is called a regular cut. When I run this from right to left, that's called a climb cut. When you climb cut, there's going to be a couple times on here I'm going to have to climb cut. The router has a tendency to run like a car wheel, so you're going to want to make sure you control it. After I route this all out, what I'm going to do is switch out to this little 1/8 inch cutter right here, and it'll take me a couple seconds to do. Okay, so when I run this, I game plan what direction I'm going to run, and it's totally based off the grain direction. Okay, so let me just run this. I'm going to make a bunch of noise, and you'll see what this looks like. Now, just to show you, when you get to the ends, it's very important. You don't start here and finish off the end, because you'll tear this grain out. Same thing in this direction. So it's very important when you're running this, you want to basically run the length first, and then you're going to run from each side in, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take the router, I'm going to run this way all the way until I get over to here, and then I'm going to come back this way. You're going to see that right now. If you do everything correctly, you won't have any tear out. Unfortunately, you kind of learn the hard way as you go with tear out, but if you read the grain direction correctly, you will not have any tear out. And if you follow this simple rule on the edge, always coming from the outside in, when you attack each edge, you won't have any tear out either. So here's a close-up of that profile. Okay, that's what it created. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch. I'm going to flip this top over. Okay, now I'm going to put this little guy on. Okay, and to change that out, these little palm routers are sweet. I highly recommend one if you don't have one. All the companies make them. I have a Metabo, it's great. I recommend Milwaukee to everybody, but I would recommend this as well. This has been stellar. I've been really impressed with this product. Way to go, Metabo. They make fantastic grinders, and now I see they're delving into wood, a little more woodworking. So to change this, there's, you know, like most palm routers, there's a little locking mechanism right here. Okay, the bit is free, and this is a carbide tipped cutter head right here, and it only cuts in one direction. You can climb cut, but when you take a really close look at how that carbide tooth is on there, you'll see that the cutter is actually right here. So anyways, kind of comes with experience when you're running the router in terms of understanding a regular cut. The simplest way I can explain it to you is a regular cut is, it's going to be from your left to your right. That's a regular cut. If you route from your right to your left, that's a climb cut. When you climb cut, the router has a tendency to jump. If you saw on the end right here, it did that on me a little bit. So you want to make sure you have two hands on the router, and you kind of want to put a little bit more pressure down to control everything, as if, you know, if that happens. Now, I didn't get any tear out, so I did everything right, and you will too, I promise. So here I'm going to lock this down and change this. And it just takes a quick second. And when you put this bit in, you don't want to sink it all the way in like that. You're going to want to pull it up from the bottom of the router, because that can end up damaging the router, and it can also end up, it's not good for the bit. So you just pull it up a little bit like that so it's not seated. And you don't want to kill it, just a slight tighten. Centrifugal force will tighten this bit the rest of the way. Okay, now, here's the trickiest, maybe the trickiest part is, how do you set it? I just, when I go to set the bit up, see if I can show you like this. I want to make sure that that bottom flute isn't sticking up past it. And the simplest way to tell you how to do it is to set this and to test it on a piece. Let's see if I can get this. Try that. So just use a little scrap piece like this, and we'll see where we're at. I said it right the first time. Usually it doesn't work like that. So here's what that little profile looks like. If you don't set it right, if you set it too low, you'll get a line right here. Some people might like that. It would be like it would come down and come around. Some people maybe want that, but I don't. I want it just like this. So I've got it set. Now I'm going to run it. The same rules apply. And this is how I'm going to attack this piece. I'm going to look at my grain direction, and right now, just by looking at this, I know I have to run the router this way. Okay, and then on this side, I know I have to run the router this way to stay in the right grain direction. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like this. 1, 2, and as I get to here, I'm going to come around, route all the way to here, and then what I'm going to do is come back here and route over and do the same thing for the other side. So here we go. Everything came out really nice. What I did not talk about, and I do want to talk about right now, is the speed, how fast you're running your router. You don't want to run it, if I was going to show you in real time, this is probably a pretty good speed right here. This is too fast. Okay, you'll get chatter marks. This is too slow. You'll get a burn mark. And I did get a burn mark right here. You can kind of see there's a little burn mark right there. Okay, it's not a big deal. You can sand it out with sandpaper. But that's just a simple profiling process for the edge of a shelf for these sapele side tables that I'm working on. And that the shelf goes in here. If I can show you this, see if I can do this real quick. Give me 1 second, I'll move this over here. That goes in here, like so. Just like that. And it kind of floats in here. Now what it does, this shelf sits about a 1/4 inch back from this face, and the same thing on the other side. And if you notice, what I did is sometimes people will wrap this shelf around this leg, and if you do that, this shelf is going to expand and contract across the length. If I put this between these two legs, it would blow my joinery apart. So what I did was I kept it inside of here, and I've got it on these custom pins in here, and I have these holes oversized. So as this expands and contracts, it won't affect my joinery up top or the stance of the table, if that makes sense. I'm Cosmo Barbaro. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.